What if the moment temptation hits isn't actually when the fight is lost? It's just when you finally notice it's been going on for a while already. You've tried to stop, you've prayed about it, you've deleted the apps, set the filters, made the promises, and for a few days it works. Then something small happens. A screen, a thought, a moment when you're tired and alone, and the pull is back, stronger than before. And now, you're not just fighting the temptation, you're fighting the shame of being here again. Here's what nobody says out loud about this. Most people lose the fight before the temptation even arrives, not because they're weak, because they don't understand what lust is actually doing inside them, and so they keep fighting it the wrong way. Lust doesn't work like a light switch. It doesn't just flip on when something triggers it. It builds, slowly and quietly, like water heating up before it boils. It feeds on small things. A look held a second too long, a thought you didn't choose but decided to stay with, a moment of boredom you filled with the wrong thing. By the time the temptation feels urgent, it has already been building for hours, sometimes days. The moment you feel overwhelmed isn't the beginning of the fight. It's close to the end of one you didn't know you were in. This isn't a willpower problem. It's a pipeline problem. The temptation isn't arriving out of nowhere. Something has been feeding it. And until you see the pipeline, you keep reacting to the flood instead of closing the source. There's a man in the Bible named Joseph. You may know the ending, but stay in the middle for a moment. He's a slave in Egypt, working in the house of a powerful man named Potiphar. He's young. He's far from home. He has no family around him, no community watching, no accountability structure. And Potiphar's wife wants him. She doesn't ask once. She asks day after day after day. The pressure is constant. The opportunity is real. Nobody would have seen. Genesis 39:9 records what Joseph says when she pushes hardest. He doesn't say he isn't tempted. He doesn't say it isn't hard. He says, "How then could I do this great evil and sin against God?" One question, one anchor, not a feeling, a frame. He had already decided who he was before she ever spoke. And when the moment hit hardest, in verse 12, he didn't negotiate. He didn't linger to think it through. The text says, he ran. He left his coat in her hand and got out of the house. He didn't win that moment by being strong in that moment. He won it because of what he had already settled in his heart long before she asked. The decision was made before the temptation arrived. A man in his late 20s, good man, genuine faith, serves at his church, had been struggling with this for years. Always alone at night, always the same pattern. He'd repent, do well for a week or two, then fall again. He had tried accountability apps. He had tried confessing to a friend. One night, after failing again, he didn't even pray at first. He just sat on the edge of his bed, feeling like the same conversation with God wasn't going anywhere. Then, almost without thinking, he opened his Bible to wherever it would fall. It landed in Genesis 39. He read it slowly. He got to the part where Joseph ran and something hit him, not guilt, something more like clarity. Joseph didn't stand there and try to be strong enough. He just left, fast, no debate. He wrote one thing in his phone that night: run before you reason. Not a verse, not a prayer, just that. He put it as his lock screen. The outcome isn't the point. The point is that for the first time he had a picture in his mind of what fighting this actually looks like, not white-knuckling it, just moving. Think of temptation like a fire. When a fire is small, just a spark, one cup of water puts it out. But if you wait until it's big, water alone won't do it. The time to fight a fire is at the spark, not the flame. The time to fight lust is not the moment it feels overwhelming. It is the moment before, the small choice, the small redirect, the small thing you close before it opens further. So here is what to do. Identify your spark, the specific small moment where the pipeline usually starts, not the big moment, the small one before it. The specific time of day, the specific emotional state, the specific habit that reliably leads somewhere you don't want to go. Name it. Write it down if you have to. Then make one decision about that specific spark, not a promise to be stronger. A single concrete action you take at that moment to redirect. The second thing is this: when temptation hits hard and fast, run first, reason later. Don't stay in the moment trying to think your way out. Joseph didn't debate Potiphar's wife. He left the building. Get up, change the room, call someone, do something physical that breaks the moment before the moment breaks you. The body moves faster than the mind in those seconds. Use that. And if you fall, and some of you will, because this is a real fight, come back to this video. Watch it again, not to feel worse, just to remember that the fight isn't over, and neither are you. God didn't tell Joseph to be strong enough to resist. He gave Joseph a conviction so deep that when the moment came, the decision had already been made. Drop in the comments, what's the hardest part of this fight for you right now? Or share what has actually helped. I read them.